Before we get into the video, I want to talk about an event that's going to be going on today called the Relic Launch Party by Urbanime. Some of you probably remember me talking about Urbanime not that long ago when they did the Mixtape Volume 1 release party showing off some of their comics and what they're going to be bringing to the table in terms of black comic book characters with an anime vibe. And today, Urbanime is going to be celebrating the release of Relic Volume 1 over on their Twitch channel at twitch.tv Urbanime Twitch. Relic is a comic about two brothers by the name of Wes and Bobby who discovered that their family has a history tied to a family heirloom that could be the difference between granting power unimaginable and starting the end of the world. And these two brothers have to decide whether or not this family heirloom is going to bring them closer together or if they're going to allow it to tear them apart. If this sounds like it's your jam, go check the link in the description below or in the pinned comment down below, and you can pick up a copy of Relic on Amazon.com when the launch party ends at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to go swing by their Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Urbanime Twitch. They're going to be having special music performances by Ninja Nisus. They're also going to be showcasing panelists like Chuck Collins, Destiny Backwritten, DJ Whatever, The Blerd Girl, Nick Leslie, and Ryan Otagawa. It's going to be going down at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go check it out because I promise you, this comic is awesome. So try not to miss it. And when you get there, tell them the Blerd Without Fear sent you. What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd Without Fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, we are going to be talking about Wolverine number 10 by Benjamin Percy and Adam Kubert. And in this video, we're going to learn exactly how Wolverine and Maverick are going to get along after their attempt to escape from the clutches of the Merchant and his crazy superhero memorabilia auction. And more importantly, we're going to learn a little bit more about the organization X-Desk and the mysterious woman who seems to be operating it, as well as what Maverick's future with Krakoa might happen to be. We're going to talk about all this and more right now, but first, let's hit that intro.
Word to wise, grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple lies. You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
When last we left off, Maverick and Wolverine were surrounded by the Merchant and all of his lackeys and a ton of villains and goons from across the Marvel Comics universe. Well, it just so happens that was not the hard part of getting out of there. They actually clapped pretty much everybody, and most of the villains who had some damn sense looks like they got the hell out of Dodge. But they didn't do it without a little bit of help from X-Desk. We learned that when the Merchant was trying to get a cheap shot in on Maverick and Wolverine using an eerily familiar gun with the Phoenix symbol on it that I don't think we've seen since Astonishing Spider-Man and Wolverine number 3, the Phoenix gun, which is basically a gun created by Hank McCoy, aka Beast, that can fire the Phoenix Force as if it was a bullet, albeit at the cost of killing the user, which I don't think the Merchant realized was what that gun actually does. But regardless of that, Agent Ramirez is the one who spares the Merchant the dishonor of dying at the hands of the Phoenix gun because she tases the hell out of him and picks up the severed arm of Wolverine as X-Desk agents start flooding in on the proceedings. Now, of course, Maverick and Wolverine are able to get the hell out of Dodge thanks to the Mercs chopper that Maverick had swoop in and pick them up. And while Maverick and Wolverine are able to get away, the thing that is kind of the big draw here with Maverick and Wolverine is the fact that while Wolverine has changed, Maverick is still the same person. This is kind of one of those situations where, like, you ever have a friend that you used to be friends with, years and years and years ago, you haven't talked, you haven't seen each other, you haven't communicated in any way, shape, form, or fashion, and then one day you meet up again and you say, let's hang out like it was old times. This is one of those situations, and in that situation, you begin to learn that maybe the person that you haven't seen in a while, maybe they have actually changed, or maybe they are exactly the same person, and maybe that's worse. And in this case, it goes both ways, because for Wolverine, Maverick seems like same old Maverick, maybe just dialed up a little bit more, despite the fact that he doesn't have his mutant powers anymore. However, Wolverine to Maverick seems like a completely different person. The old Wolverine would have been 100% down to rejoining up with the Mercs and just traveling the world and clapping cheeks left and right and getting that bag. However, Wolverine has found a home, and he's trying to get Maverick to understand that and to see that Krakoa is not just some cult or, whatever. It's not some Jim Jones operation. He's trying to get him to understand that it is actually more like a family, something which Maverick is highly skeptical of, but they do get to go on one last hurrah together. And this is an instance that I found kind of troubling, just for if no other reason than the fact that we see a ton of superhero memorabilia from yesteryear, and even some more recent outings. We see the Onslaught armor, we see a Sentinel head, we see one of Mojo's old chairs, and we also see the Four from off the Baxter building from the Fantastic Four. We see the Hulkbuster armor. We see a ton of different items all spanning from across different corners of the Marvel Comics universe, from Spider-Man to Avengers to S.H.I.E.L.D. to Hydra to AIM to the Fantastic Four, everything, including the X-Men. One item I found very troubling was what looks to be a decommissioned Nimrod, which I think Krakoa would have a huge deal with that, and the fact that Wolverine did not even so much as see it and bat an eyelash kind of troubles me. But we do also see other items like the helmet that Wolverine wore during his time with Weapon X. We see Luke Cage's tiara and his bracers and the chain. Honestly, I could sit here all day and just talk about the things that we see in the background here, but something that is troubling Wolverine is the fact that he doesn't remember losing an arm. Now that he's looking at all these things, he's seeing all this stuff. He's seeing that these people are collecting all of these different artifacts from superhero lore, that this can't possibly be good. And more importantly, he's starting to realize that he may have died and doesn't remember it. This leads Wolverine to actually request X-Factor look into his deaths, saying that he wants a full review of his resurrection log and to make sure he hasn't forgotten anything. And what X-Factor is coming up with is the fact that if the presence of his severed hand is out there, then this indicates that either there's been a possible anomaly in the death logs, or it's a relic of the Weapon X clone, or it's a genomic experiment by Zeno. Now, with Zeno having been there, it's not that hard to believe. They did collect some of his DNA while they were at the auction, but I don't think that's quite the case. I mean, that's obviously not where the arm comes from, because it was already there. But what I'm saying is, it would surprise me if Zeno had done something long before this. But I'm gonna go on a limb and say, I actually think this might be a Weapon X clone. Now, I'm not talking about X-24 from the X-Men movies, though don't be surprised if they find some way to kind of make that an homage or something like that to Logan, but I actually have a sneaky suspicion it could very well be Albert. Some people forget that Albert is a thing. He's an android doppelganger, but something tells me that if that was actually the case, we probably would have noticed that there was some weird stuff going on with the circuitry, and X-Desk would have figured that out as well, or we at least would have seen something about it. So maybe it's not Albert now that I'm saying it all out loud, but you never know. Anything can happen. This is comic books we're talking about here. Speaking of X-Desk, after Maverick visits Krakoa and spends some time chatting up with Wolverine about whether or not he wants to join the island, which, huge surprise, he doesn't want to. Imagine that. The guy named Maverick doesn't want to join a family of mutants, a society full of other people just like him. He wants to be a lone wolf. Go figure. Yeah, that's not the surprise. The surprise is that we see a CIA phone log between Agent Ramirez of X-Desk and the director. And something is going on here, because the whole idea that the whole auction was botched, that they didn't get Maverick like they originally wanted, but they did manage to get Wolverine's arm, and they maybe possibly have an in to get other things, especially if they still have access to that black budget they were using at the auction. And I don't know what Agent Ramirez is plotting here, but something tells me that she has plans for Maverick, because she invites him to coffee, and when they talk, she basically implies she has a job for him, that she has something that she wants him to do, and we don't really get to see what the offer is, but she is concerned that he did go to Krakoa and that she's worried that his loyalties may have shifted, but she wants to know where his loyalties lie. And Maverick, though we don't get to see his answer, we do realize that he does say he's made his mind up. Now, he could just as very easily be talking about what he wants on the menu. However, However, something tells me that he is going to do something, and maybe since he doesn't have his mutant powers anymore, maybe he doesn't consider himself a mutant anymore. And something tells me X-Death is going to try and use him as a way to infiltrate Krakoa, or maybe to get Wolverine. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, X-Death was going to buy a mind-controlled Maverick. Maverick's not a mutant anymore, but, I mean, technically he sells the X-Gene, so I mean, technically he can still use the Krakoan portals, but even despite that, they didn't even need a mind-controlled Maverick because Maverick works for money, and if they're offering the money, he's gonna do the work. So probably X-Death is just gonna have him do what the merchant suggested people could use Maverick for in the first place, only this time he won't be mind-controlled, he'll just be money-controlled. It's very difficult to suss out exactly what it is they're planning because X-Death is still one of those things that though we've seen and read a lot of their logs, we still don't know that much about them, and I gotta wonder what Ramirez's angle is here, because if Ramirez is who I think she is, I didn't think about it at the time, but I was like, oh, wait a minute, that character that Storm met in Marauders number 11, that is the same character that we're looking at here. I don't know what's going on because I feel like this character of Dolores Ramirez has always kind of been, you know, yeah, she's working for X-Death, she's spying on Krakoa, but she's never seemed malicious about it, and she even seemed to have been happy with the notion that the X-Men have been helping her, that Krakoa helped her cure her mother of Alzheimer's and is helping her family get back to normal. And yeah, even though she seems compromised because of this, yeah, she still works for X-Death, but she doesn't seem like an awful person. But it seems like what she's doing now, she's turned into this cold-hearted person, and I'm wondering what exactly happened that caused this dramatic heel turn. She literally was just sitting here gushing about how amazing Storm looked and how happy she was that the mutants helped her and helped put her family back together. She's even helped Krakoa. She was one of the ones that helped tell Krakoa about the Berendi tainting the mutant drugs. So I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. I got so many questions about X-Death. I know we're getting X-Corp, but man, I almost feel like we need an X-Death book instead, because I feel like there's a story here that, man, I'm just waiting to see it unfold. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, Hulk smash that like button and make sure to share this video all over the internet and with your friends so they'll know how you leveled up your comic book big brain in regards to Wolverine and Reign of X. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button and let me know what you thought about Wolverine number 10. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.